Welcome to Fireside Giants. My name is Alex, co-host Anthony Rivardo. Today we're talking Jason Garrett and Patrick Graham, who are both being considered for head coaching positions around the NFL. Please, don't take Jason Garrett. Don't take him. He's one of the most intuitive and creative play callers of the modern history in the NFL. Why would the Giants let him walk? They should decline any request for Jason Garrett. Decline. Let Patrick Graham go. He's terrible. A joke. I hope GMs are listening to this, by the way. Patrick Graham's the joke. He's the worst. One of the worst defensive play calls I've ever seen. He didn't take this defense from 2019 to 28 points per game to 22 in 2020. It was a joke. A mirage. Nothing to be worried about here. Jason Garrett's the man. He made Daniel Jones look like the next coming of Dan Marino. Okay? Steve Young. Pick any of your guys. He was it. Daniel Jones was a monster this year because of Jason Garrett, but I will say, Anthony, how are you doing, my friend?
I can't think of a better coach to pair with Justin Herbert, and I can't think of a worse coach to pair with the Jets defense. Man, I'm doing good. You know, when I saw the tweet about Patrick Graham interviewing with the Jets, I got a little bit nervous. But there's a lot of really good head coaching candidates out there. I don't think it's extremely likely that Patrick Graham actually does go hire, get hired by another team. Same thing for Jason Garrett. I think there's just a lot of really good coaching candidates, and some teams are just rounding all the bases. They want to see what they have, and Patrick Graham, he's bright upcoming star in the NFL right now. Jason Garrett kind of not really, but not a bright upcoming star, but he's an experienced, seasoned veteran in the NFL who's been around forever and was the head coach of Dallas and had one losing season in his career. You know
what he's like?
Huh?
He's like that character from Cars, like the old clunker. But he has a couple of good. He has like a couple of good.
What's his name? Hudson.
Qualities to him.
Like the old Aston Martin.
He has a couple of good qualities to him. Like you could take a couple pieces from him and be like, okay, this works. But the rest of it's like, all right, you really aren't doing much here. You're kind of just taking up space.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we've had a lot to say about Jason Garrett, a lot of criticism about him. But when Joe Judge said that he responded to Patrick Graham's interview request, and he said, I expect other members of my staff to get interview requests. And that told me he must know something that we don't, and that would probably indicate that Jason Garrett is going to, get an interview request. And sure enough, he did. And I think that's really interesting because the Giants had arguably the worst offense in the NFL this year. They had the second worst offense statistically in the NFL. So it's surprising to me that with Jason Garrett running the offense, that another team would look at that and think Jason Garrett is the guy, or could be the guy. It's surprising to me. There are redeeming qualities about Jason Garrett, like you mentioned, and we'll discuss that. And really, frankly, I'll say the one that scares me the most, though, is Patrick Graham, because I feel like he could be the Joe Judge of this coaching cycle. While I don't necessarily think Patrick Graham will get hired, I think there's just so many good candidates. Nobody thought Joe Judge would get hired. That was a huge shock. But he went in there and won the Giants over and was hired by them, and it was a surprise. And I think that Patrick Graham, he's such a smart, intelligent guy, Ivy Leaguer, and he put together an amazing defensive season for the Giants, coming in and improving that defense tenfold, getting a career year out of multiple players, including Bradbury, Martinez, Leonard Williams. Patrick Graham's work this season cannot go unnoticed, and it hasn't. Clearly, he's, now getting head coaching requests. So I am a little afraid. I do fear that he could get hired because he could go in there and just win a team over and make them fall in full bloom love, as Dave Gettleman likes to say. And so I am a little nervous about that, but I'm going to try and keep a positive mindset. And I would be really pissed if our little brothers stole our favorite toy, the New York Jets. I would be really pissed if they were the team that took him. That would really, really get my goat. But like I said, keeping a positive mindset, hoping to see Patrick Graham back with Big Blue in 2021, and I think he will be.
Yeah, it was a pretty polarizing moment for me because I saw, the news come up on Twitter that Patrick Graham was going to be interviewed with the Jets, and then I was like, oh my goodness, like this day couldn't get any worse now. And it's been a couple of crappy days since the Giants, were knocked out of the playoffs, but like 5 minutes after that, I saw Jason Garrett's name pop up for the Chargers, and I said, oh, this day got a little bit better. Just a little bit better. And, I think that the Jets ultimately end up going with Eric Bieniemy, personally. I really
someone's
like Eric
going to go
Bieniemy.
with Eric Bieniemy. I don't know if it's going to be the
really-
Jets, the Texans.
I
Somebody
really like
has
him.
to. The Jaguars.
If you
even.
go with a new quarterback, you're going with Eric Bieniemy. So I could totally see the Jaguars doing that. But at the same time, if I'm Eric Bieniemy, I don't want to go to the Jaguars because their owner just said he doesn't want the general manager making any personnel decisions. You don't want your owner
was a little
that meddled.
confusing.
You don't want your owner meddled in personnel decisions. Believe us as Giants fans. We have seen enough of that crap. Just let the guy do the job. Let the pros do the job. That's what Steve Cohen did with the Mets. He comes in, he's like, I don't know anything about this crap. I'm going to let the guys that actually know what they're doing do the job. Instead of the Wilpons trying to do everything for the general manager and everything, for the team. So if I'm the Jets, I'm going with Eric Bieniemy if he's available, because give him the autonomy. He learned from Andy Reid. The guy is extremely intelligent, one of the best play callers of the modern day NFL. Incredible. He's actually really good. While Jason Garrett, I was obviously being sarcastic before, but when it comes to Patrick Graham, he's a guy. I'm not going to go there. But Patrick Graham's a guy you simply can't afford to lose. Even Blake Martinez was like, I'm like that clingy fifth girlfriend, like that girlfriend you've been on 5 dates with and just clinging around, and just please don't leave me. Just please don't go. That's what Blake Martinez said about Patrick Graham. And look, that guy is loved. He puts all the pressure on himself. He gives all the credit away to his players. He's the guy you want. He's essentially a genius, by the way. He went to Ivy League school, went to Yale. The guy has done so much in his career to prove that he's capable of being a fantastic coach. And I think he's just not there yet as head coaching material, because he needs a little bit more experience under that belt of his. And I think as the assistant head coach with Joe Judge, I can see him next season, 2 seasons from now, being a very, very big consideration for a head coaching spot. But for now, I think we're safe. I think that the Jets are doing their due diligence with a lot of different coaches around the league. It was like Black Monday this past week. Like everyone fired their coaches and their GMs and whatnot. So
and
there's a lot of
coordinators were
NFL.
fired too. Not the Giants' offensive coordinator, but a few were.
Yep.
And I want to say this about Jason Garrett real quick. Him getting requested for a head coaching interview might say a lot about the inside versus the outside perception of Jason Garrett. You know what I mean? The Giants might see that a team wants to interview him as a head coach and think, clearly he's a coveted coach in this league. We can't fire him. We can't just let him go. If he's going to leave, it's going to be to go be a head coach somewhere. And that's my fear, is that the Giants are going to think like that, because me and you and a lot of fans don't want Jason Garrett here anymore. A lot of us want to see them part ways and fire Jason Garrett. But I fear that, the Giants are going to settle with Jason Garrett for another year because other teams around the league covet Jason Garrett in a certain way. And that's my fear there. I don't know how you feel about that, but... and then I also think, like, with Jason Garrett, if he were to go to another team as a head coach, then I wonder if the Giants would promote someone from within as offensive coordinator, or if they would branch out and go elsewhere. That's another thing to keep in mind.
I think they go new. I think they go with a new guy.
What about Shaplinski, though? I feel like they could maybe consider going with Shaplinski.
Look, I like Shaplinski, okay? I really do. I like Shaplinski, but what I don't like about Shaplinski is that I think he'll do a lot of what the Patriots did with Tom Brady, and I don't necessarily think that fitting Tom Brady's scheme to the Giants is a good idea.
I think the Giants have been trying to fit the Patriots scheme since Dave Gettleman got here in 2018. I think they've been trying to recreate it in every way. I wrote an article about that. I did a video about that. I think that's something that the Giants have been trying to do in terms of the way that they built their defense. And then this is talking about even before they hired Patrick Graham and Joe Judge, but that just instilled it into me even more. But in terms of how they built the offense as well, around a strong running game, playing through your tight end, the tight end is really important in New England, and it became very important here once Gettleman got here. And then, of course, pocket passing quarterback, for the most part, stand in the pocket, go through the progressions. And then in terms of the wide receivers, not having a number one wide receiver, but instead just having a lot of decent number two receivers who can get the job done. That worked for the Patriots back in 2018. They won the Super Bowl. And I think, Dave Gettleman and the Giants might have seen that. It was over the LA Rams. And I think they might have seen that and thought this is a winning formula in the NFL nowadays. The Patriots have proven that was not a long-lasting formula to win with, and that it quickly dried up and became a problem for them. So now it's a problem for the Giants as well that they don't have the number one wide receiver.
Right. Yep. That's actually a very good point. And if Dave Gettleman goes out and signs Kelvin Benjamin 2.0, I'm going to be pissed. I really want to see them go after a really talented, agile, quick with some size. Not Kelvin Benjamin size.
The guy who can separate and get open.
Right, and that's why we're going to harp on Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle. We're going to talk about Allen Robinson. We're going to go through the film. We're going to do everything for you guys this offseason so you guys get a good idea of who we think would fit well in this scheme. But the problem is we don't know what the scheme is yet. You know what I mean? Until we know what Jason Garrett's future is with the team, we will not know the future of their free agency signings, because the free agency signings are meant to, and also draft, are meant to fit the scheme. That's what we saw this past offseason with the Giants on defense specifically. I think offensively, we're going to have to see what happens there. I think if there's two ways this could go. The first way is the Giants are not going to fire Jason Garrett until he's went through his interview process with LA. And the reason behind that is they don't want to do him dirty like that. They don't want to do Jason Garrett dirty and fire him right before he's interviewing for a head coaching job. That would pretty much guarantee he doesn't get it. But if he goes and he doesn't get the job, I think they part ways with him, just because of 31st offensive production in the league. That pretty much sums it up for me. But there is a possibility that he does stay another year, and if he does stay another year, we're going to see good running football. With Saquon Barkley back, we're going to see good running football. But we're not going to see elite level creative play calling and route concepts. Even if you get him, and it's actually funny because I'm remembering him with Dez Bryant many years ago. And he did a lot of the same things he's doing now with the Giants. He would just throw balls up in man coverage to Dez Bryant. Like, he was that big body guy. That they would just throw balls to him in coverage, and he would come down with it because he was a number one receiver. He was an elite receiver.
There were similarities.
The Giants don't have that.
The personnel was different. The talent on the roster was different.
Exactly. But that's my biggest concern with him. When the talent differential is so large, and you're trying to fit your mold, your scheme from years ago into the Giants' current roster situation on offense specifically, you're screwed. You're not going to do well. You have to adapt to your players. And, this is a stat that just came up like a couple hours ago when it comes to Daniel Jones, and I'll read it to you. Jones threw 20-plus yards downfield on less than 10% of his throws. Only 10 of 39 quarterbacks were below 10% this season. And then Anthony talks about this all the time. Jason Garrett, Daniel Jones is one of the most accurate deep ball passers in the NFL.
Yes, he is.
And the fact that Jason Garrett was not prioritizing that strength and really attacking that strength and utilizing it is considered malpractice, in my opinion. And if you're an evaluator of football on the Giants and you're making these decisions, you need to notice that and say, hey man, Daniel Jones is one of the best accurate throwers of deep ball in the NFL. Why is he throwing it 10% or less? Why are there 29 quarterbacks ahead of him in that category? And why was our offense ranked 31st in the NFL in points per game because of it? You got to take shots. Darius Slayton had 8 touchdowns in his rookie season, and Pat Shurmur threw the ball downfield a lot more than Jason Garrett did, and it produced points. Maybe you have a few turnovers here and there, but I'd rather have a turnover on a ball going deep downfield than have one, that you're throwing to Evan Ingram and tipped up for an interception or 3 and outs. Take chances, take risks. That is what the NFL is about these days. Maybe you throw a couple interceptions here and there, extra ones, but maybe you score 6, 7, 8 touchdowns in addition, and you win those 3 games that we lost by 6 point margin, 6 combined points, so 3 game span. Maybe you win those games instead. So these are a lot of things that obviously football is a game of inches. You have to consider every inch and every score, every point, every play. And I think Jason Garrett did not do what needs to be done to deserve another year as offensive coordinator with the Giants.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I don't think he did enough, but like I said, I think the Giants see it differently. I think that they see he did enough. I think they think that Jason Garrett's, and we mentioned this off of recording, that we do have to give some credit to Jason Garrett. It wasn't all terrible. Daniel Jones, if we're going to give credit to Daniel Jones for becoming a better version of himself this year and say that he improved and developed a lot throughout the year, then we do have to give some credit to Jason Garrett because that was his coach. Daniel Jones has outwardly said he loves working with Jason Garrett. And if Jason Garrett helped him become the better quarterback, which in some ways, of course, he did, then we have to give credit to Jason Garrett and say that he helped Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is better because of Jason Garrett. The only thing is, I think Daniel Jones can be much better with another coordinator. That's the difference. Yes, he got better with Jason Garrett, and I hope he continues to get better if Jason Garrett continues to be the offensive coordinator. But I think that the ceiling is much higher with another offensive coordinator and another coach helping Daniel Jones. But yes, we will give credit to Jason Garrett where credit is due, but we will also give a lot of criticism where a lot of criticism is due.
Yep. There's a lot of criticism to go around for this Giants offense, and Daniel Jones isn't immune to it, right? I can't wait to look into all the film over the course of this season. He wasn't perfect. I mean, he took some steps forward in some categories, but the reality is, there's a lot of progress that needs to occur this offseason, especially. So we will see exactly what happens with Jason Garrett, what happens there, but I do want to talk about the defense a little bit more positive spin right now, and what Patrick Graham brought to this team. And I love when I hear him speak. During his press conferences, he makes the defense sound so basic. He's like, I only established my basic concepts. Like, this is just basic. And you see him running like man end zone at the same time and doing all these just increasingly impressive things with his unit. And it takes a lot for these players to know what is going on, and learning the scheme. And they got better, in my opinion, as the year went on, even if, there was a couple games there that the Giants struggled, but that's mainly because, Bradbury's situation with COVID, injuries, we didn't have any pass rushers. We had Carter Coughlin as Jabal Shared as our primary guys at outside linebacker.
Yeah, good point.
Then you got Kyler Fackrell back this past week, and you saw how much it helped Leonard Williams and Dalvin Tomlinson. Kyler Fackrell got in there for a sack, a couple quarterback hits. That's a big deal. I think you give these guys one decent outside linebacker, you get O'Shane and you get Lorenzo Carter back, and you're looking at a team that, maybe they got something there. Maybe they can do some stuff. So we'll see. We'll see about that. But I'm pretty excited about Patrick Graham in general and what his team can do. I think he's going to be around here for quite a while. I don't think we should be worried about much.
Yeah, I agree. I think, he deserves to be interviewed for a head coaching position. I absolutely believe that for Patrick Graham. I don't necessarily think he will get the job, but if he does, I'll wish him the best of luck and hope to see the Giants replace him with someone even better somehow. I don't know if it can get much better. I really think that Patrick Graham is arguably the best defense coordinator in the NFL right now, based on what he did with a defense that lacked a lot of talent in a lot of spots. He did a phenomenal job. So, looking forward, I hope to see this develop pretty quickly, and I hope to see that Patrick Graham says, I will be staying with the New York Giants. I don't want to go anywhere. And then, you know what? If the Chargers, if they want to hire Jason Garrett, I will be all for that. I am totally happy with them doing that. And then I would hope that the Giants find a really good offensive coordinator to take Daniel Jones to the next level in that year 3 breakout that we've been mentioning and hoping for. But if Jason Garrett sticks around, then I just hope that the Giants put enough pieces on the roster around him to get him to succeed and get this offense up to par with where he would like it.
Right. Yeah. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's the update what we have for Jason Garrett and Patrick Graham. As always, thank you so much for the support, and we will catch you on the next one.